Okay, welcome back, and I hope everybody had a good fall break. Today we're going to be doing a practice session where we stitch together these three panoramic images. These are three images that have been shot, and together they're going to make a wide panorama for us. So the first thing I've done is I've loaded these up. I downloaded these from Google Classroom, and there are three of them. Okay, and I'm going to load these up in their own new image, but I have to make that new image first. So I have to know how wide these are, how tall these are in pixels, and I have to know what the resolution is. So if I go up to image and I go to image size, I'm seeing that these are 3072 pixels wide. So I'll write that number down on a piece of scrap paper. And I see that they are 2048 pixels high, and they have a resolution of 240 pixels. So I have all three of these values written down. I have the width written down, the height written down, and the resolution written down. Don't worry about these right here. And I'm going to make a new image, since there are three of these, that is 3 times their width. And if you need a calculator, if you go to the Finder and you go to Applications, there's a little calculator in there for you. And 3072 times 3, because we have 3 images, does not look right, 3072 times 3 equals, that looks better, 9,216 pixels wide. So our new image is going to be 9,216 pixels wide by 2,048 pixels tall, with a resolution of 240. So let's make that. So back here in Photoshop, I go to File, and I go to New, and it's asking me how big do I want this to be. So I'm going to put 3 times the width of one of my pictures. If you have 5, obviously, you multiply by 5. If you have 3, you multiply by 3. So I'm going to put 9,216 pixels wide by 2,048 pixels tall or high, and I'm going to set the resolution to 240 pixels, and that's going to create for us this big wide banner-like image, this panoramic-like image. Let's pull that loose, and let's move these up out of my way. So this is where my images are going to end up. They're going to end up in this image. So let me start with the leftmost. That's photo 1. Okay? And what I'm going to do there is on its layers palette, I'm just going to drag its layer, and I'm going to drop its layer right onto that wide image I just made. And then I can use the Move tool, or I can hit V on my keyboard to go ahead and move that into place. And there it is. Okay? Now I can go back and I can close photo 1 down. I don't need photo 1 anymore. It's helpful if you close them down as you load them into your big wide image. That way you're not tripping over them. Okay? I don't know why my computer is doing that. I need to look into its settings. Photo 2 here should be the next one in the series. So what I need to do, so I can get this to cooperate, I need to grab photo 2, and I need to move photo 2 over to this big wide image that's back here. I'm going to click it and drag it and drop it right back there. I can close photo 2 down now, and I'll go ahead and move that more or less into place. Okay? And then photo 3, same thing. So here are my 3 pictures. We'll go ahead and close down photo 3. Here are my 3 pictures, and they're on their own layer. These are the pictures that were shot for the panorama. And again, these are available for you out there on Google Classroom. Okay, so let's zoom in a little bit and see what we're working with. Okay, this is San Francisco. There's San Francisco Golden Gate Bridge right there. San Francisco Harbor. Okay, here's the second picture. Turn it on. And what I want to do right now is I want to position this second picture. I want to kind of look for matching items. So if you notice, I told you when you shoot these to have some overlap. And this building here is matching up with this building here. These are the same buildings. And if I lower the opacity of this so I can see through layer 2, I can drop it right on top of layer 1. Okay? And your arrow keys allow you to just nudge it, just 1 pixel at a time, until it's just perfect. There we go. Pretty close. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and now I'm going to raise the opacity. And we've got this big old seam where I'm going to show you how to get rid of that shortly. I'm going to move over a little more. Take my scroll bar and move over. And I'm going to turn on the visibility of layer 3, which is my last one to slide. Oops. Let's just undo that since I already had it done. Make sure layer 3 is my active layer. Okay. And I can see here, let's see, I see this tall building here, and I see the same tall building here. So I'm going to kind of put it sort of in place. I'm going to go ahead and lower the opacity of layer 3, and I can just match these two up, just like so. There we go. Okay. Pretty close. Now I'll raise the opacity back up. So now they're lined up, but it doesn't look quite right. Let's zoom out a little bit. Because we've got these big old seams where the colors don't quite match. And that's normal. You're going to have that. And here's how we're going to get rid of those. There's a couple ways to tidy this up and to make it look like a real panorama. Okay? The first way is to erase out part of this image. Now, I'm going to show you a brand new concept, and this is called layer masks. Let's go back to layer 1. I could, if I chose to, take the eraser, and I want to get a bigger, and I want to get a very soft-edged eraser. So I want to make sure that my hardness is down to 0. The size is pretty good, and I could just, whoops, wrong layer again. I'm going to work on layer 2. There we go. And I could just do this, and that sort of helps it blend, sort of. Okay. The problem is if I need to go back and fix that, I really can't. So on layer 2 here, I'm going to add a layer mask. And you'll see another little rectangle come up. Okay. Wherever that layer mask is white, it shows all of that layer. Wherever it's black, it shows none of that layer. So if I switch over to my paintbrush and I switch my color to black and I'm on the layer mask, and you know you're working on the layer mask because you have these little brackets around the layer mask. Okay? If I take my paintbrush, make him a little bigger, make him a little softer. If I take my paintbrush and I paint some black down, it has exactly the same effect as the erase tool. Exactly the same effect. But here's the difference. If I screw up and I do this, all I have to do is switch to white and paint some white back, and it comes back. I'm working on the layer mask here. Okay? So anywhere it's white, you see this. Okay? Anywhere it's black, you don't. Okay, so I've kind of blended that seam, and this is what it looks like without the other layers turned on. It's just kind of softened that up a little bit. And I need to make sure this black is 100% black or this won't work. See how I'm getting a little ghost image there? There we go. So that black is now 100% black. If it's less than 100% black, even if it looks black on the screen, you won't get it all the way erased. So let's turn the other one on now. And it's not too bad. We're going to come back and fix this here in just a minute. But now we're going to go ahead and we're going to blend layer 3 in. So I'm going to turn layer 3 on. Lots of overlap. You cannot have too much overlap. I'm going to add a layer mask with this little icon, this little button right here. There's a new layer mask on layer 3. Notice it has the brackets around it. So when I paint down black, that's disappearing also, But see, I screwed up. I got a little too much here. So I can go back with the white. I can paint in some white, and now we're good. Otherwise, you'd have to go back, open the original picture up, bring it back in. It's a real hassle. It's easier to use the layer masks here. I know it's easier to erase, but if you make a mistake, it's much easier to fix that mistake if you use the layer mask. Now, we've learned all about adjustment layers, especially the brightness and contrast adjustment layer. There's another place to adjust brightness and contrast, and it's up under Image. It's under Adjustments, and it's the same brightness and contrast, but it's not an adjustment mask. It's not or adjustment layer rather. This is an adjustment, and it will only affect that layer. So it brings up this little controller, and I'm going to raise its brightness up a little bit, and I need to make sure I'm not on the layer mask. Let's go back to the regular layer. Image, Adjustments, Brightness, Contrast. Oh, there we go. Now it's matching. Okay. And notice it's not affecting the layers under it. If you use the adjustment layers or the correction layers, they will affect every layer from that point down. You guys know that. But if you go up here and you're on this layer, like I'm on layer 2 now, I want to brighten that up a little bit. I'm going to go to Image and I'm going to go to Adjustments. It will only affect that layer. So let's raise this one up a touch. There, and now it's showing me that it doesn't match the other one, so I'm going to go back and work on that other layer just a little bit. Let's OK that. We'll go back to layer 3, and we'll go Image, Adjustments, Brightness, Contrast. There we go, brighten him up a little bit. Okay, so now we've got our panorama stitched together. If we zoom way in on these seams, they're really hard to find. There was one right in here, if you guys remember, and it's almost completely disappeared. Okay, I'm going to use my hand tool to scooch over. Oh, there's one here that could use a little more work, but you get the idea. I'm going to zoom out, and to finish this up, I'm going to grab my crop tool, and I'm going to crop off all the unwanted part. And there it is. There is my finished panorama. Make him a little smaller. There it is. 3 photos stitched into one for a super wide view of San Francisco Bay. Okay, that's what's up for today, guys.